Ever wondered why inheritance tax may not be a practical solution for addressing the wealth inequality in India? Well, in today's video, we'll be talking about the inheritance tax. This tax is also known as estate tax and has been proposed as a tool to address wealth inequality in India. However, implementing such a tax may not be a practical solution due to various challenges and potential negative consequences. Here are some reasons why inheritance tax may not be the most effective approach to tackle wealth distribution issues in India. First one is business impact. One of the primary concerns with inheritance tax in India is its potential impact on businesses, especially family-owned enterprises. Imposing a substantial tax on inherited wealth could lead to challenges in transferring assets and business to the next generation. Second comes tax evasion. Implementing an inheritance tax in India may also lead to increased instances of tax evasion. Wealthy individuals may resort to complex legal structures or offshore accounts to shield their assets from taxation, reducing the effectiveness of tax in redistributing the wealth. Third comes the economic impact. The inheritance tax could have broader economic implications in India. It may discourage savings and investment, as individuals may opt to spend or transfer their wealth to avoid the tax. This could hinder the capital formation and economic growth, impacting the overall prosperity and development in the country. Fourth comes the compliance and administration. The implementation of an inheritance tax requires robust of administrative mechanisms to ensure the compliance and prevent the tax evasion. In a country like India, with a diverse and complex financial landscape, enforcing such a tax could be challenging and resource intensive. Fifth comes the alternatives to consider. Instead of relying solely on the inheritance tax to address wealth inequality, policymakers in India may explore the alternative measures that promote the inclusive economic growth and equitable wealth distribution. This could include the reforms in the tax system, targeting the social programs, investment in the education and skill developments, and initiatives to promote the entrepreneurship and innovations among marginalized communities. Certainly into this, the finance minister states that inheritance tax directly hits the middle class and the aspiration class. Well, let's have a look into the video as well.
It directly hits the middle class. It directly hits the aspirational class. They work hard. Sweat and toil of theirs is saved in small savings here and there. Or they buy a house, a dream house, and keep some fixed deposits. All this is going to be exposed to the so-called property tax. After all, Congress's reputation in terms of property tax goes back, and I remember earlier in 1968, there was a compulsory deposit scheme where people's deposits were all 18%, 20%, something was taken away. There was no justification given. At that time, they would say, oh, recently we had a war, India doesn't have money. Later on, if you see the way in which they have clearly aimed at targeting people who are wealth creators for this country. They work hard, they create money, they create value, they employ people, and therefore India's economy becomes buoyant. If such wealth creators are going to be punished purely because they have some money kept behind, India's progress in the last 10 years would just go for a zero, and we'll probably be going back to that era when Congress imposed 90% tax. You'll probably not believe, in the current generation wouldn't even remember or know anything about it. There was India when, under the Congress rule, we paid 90% of all that was earned by us as tax. That's the socialist model which the Congress party is comfortable with. But I'm sure their own properties, when transferred from the grandmother to the grandchildren or the father to children, were excluded from all this property tax. So this is a clear ploy that they'll safeguard their own interests, but I'm sorry, people of India will have to keep giving away the earnings from their sweat and toil. Absolutely convoluted, and this cannot be supported.
Wrapping up on this idea of inheritance tax may seem like a plausible solution to address the wealth inequality in India. Its practical implementation poses significant challenges and potential drawbacks. Well, that's all for today. For more updates, stay tuned to our channel.